I tried to pretend like everything was fine, but deep down, I was dying. I didn't want that life. I wanted him. I wanted us, no matter the cost. So I told my parents I wanted to go to a design school in the capital. They trusted me. My father handed me the money to go and make inquiries. But it wasn't enough. I couldn't wait. I couldn't stand the thought of losing him. So I stole. I took a large sum from my mother's safe, convinced that it was the only way to make my dreams come true. But the moment he had access to the money, he changed. He became distant, cold, started staying out late. I later found out he wasn't just with me. There were other women. Maybe I was just another conquest, a fool. She wiped away another tear. When I confronted him, he told me to leave his house and never come back. I had nowhere else to go. No ID, no friends, no money, and too much shame to return home. I thought I could build a life with him, start that business we had always dreamed of, and maybe even be happy. But in the end, it all crumbled. And now, I'm left with nothing but memories of a love that was never real. Maxwell's eyebrows furrowed. He could sense the weight of the guilt she carried. Maxwell was stunned. So your family, they don't even know where you are? She shook her head. They probably think I've died. Or maybe they've disowned me. The number I gave the hospital was my cousin's, but I'm sure they've changed lines. There was a heavy silence. Maxwell stood and paced for a moment. You've been carrying all this alone? Enam nodded slowly. That's why I didn't want to live anymore. I lost everything. My baby, my dignity, my family. Maxwell turned to her with firm but kind eyes. Then let's find a way to make things right. Maybe it's time to go back, to face it all. Not for them, but for you. Enam looked terrified. What if they don't forgive me? Then at least you will know you tried. Maxwell replied, but you might be surprised. Sometimes the people who love us are just waiting for us to come back. I'll think about it and give you my response tomorrow morning. Enam said, but her mind was restless. Maxwell couldn't stop thinking about the woman in his house. Was she truly telling the truth? Doubt gnawed at him like a persistent ache. Earlier that day, his mother had called, her voice stern and filled with urgency, warning him to send the lady away or she would come herself the next morning to do it. Maxwell was torn. Deep down, he hoped for a favorable resolution, something that would allow him to take her back to her family the next day and finally put everything to rest. Meanwhile, Enam couldn't sleep either. Fear gripped her heart. The thought of going back home terrified her. But after wrestling with her thoughts, she summoned all the courage she had. She couldn't continue living in hiding. Not anymore. She was the only child of her parents, and despite everything, she was grateful to be alive and given another chance. At dawn, she approached Maxwell quietly and said, I'm ready to go home. Maxwell nodded, but fear crept into his own heart. He wasn't sure what awaited them. Out of caution, he called a friend who was a police officer and pleaded with him to accompany them. He couldn't risk going alone. To Maxwell's surprise, Enam's story checked out. They crossed the border into a neighboring country and she led them to a magnificent building, a palace of sorts. The moment the security guards at the gate saw Enam, they froze, eyes wide in disbelief. One of them quickly made a phone call, and soon they were escorted inside. The interior was majestic. Ornate sculptures, golden chandeliers, and attendants in traditional garb. A maid approached politely and offered them food or drink, but they declined. Enam looked visibly shaken. Her hands trembled. Her eyes darted nervously around the room. Maxwell gently held her hand and whispered, "It is going to be okay." Time passed slowly, every second feeling like an eternity, until finally a man was wheeled into the room, pushed by a regal-looking woman. They were dressed in full chieftaincy attire. The moment Maxwell saw them, he realized the truth. Enam bore a striking resemblance to the woman. They stood and bowed respectfully. Enam lowered her head in deep shame. Then the woman saw her daughter and broke. She burst into uncontrollable sobs as she fell into a chair, tears flowing freely. The entire room was overcome with emotion. The maids cried, the guards wept, even Maxwell and his friends stood there, heartbroken by the pain in front of them. When calm was finally restored, the man, clearly weakened and unable to speak properly, struggled to utter words. Enam, I'm glad you are alive." His voice was frail. He had suffered a stroke. The woman, wiping her tears with trembling hands, looked directly at her daughter. "Enam, I'm your mother. You could have told me what you wanted. If it was money, we would have given you more than enough. What did you ever ask for that we denied you? We were told your cousin came with news that you were knocked down by a vehicle. They said you were crushed beyond recognition, gone forever. Your father couldn't bear the news. That's what broke him. That's why he's like this now, barely able to speak. They are even talking of replacing him as chief." Enam collapsed to her knees and broke into tears, begging for forgiveness. Her parents didn't hesitate. They were just grateful that she was alive, safe, and home again. They embraced her and welcomed her companions with open arms. A room was prepared for them, and a grand banquet laid out in their honor. Enam introduced Maxwell and the officer to her parents. Her mother held their hands tightly and thanked them for bringing her daughter back. Maxwell, however, was uneasy. He didn't want to spend the night. His only desire was to leave, to go back home. He had done the right thing, after all. He had brought her back safely. That should be enough. He had done his part. At least, that's what he thought. But Maxwell had no idea what he believed to be the end was only the beginning of a storm he had unknowingly walked right into. Maxwell couldn't sleep, and neither could his friend. He kept tossing and turning in bed. "Max, what's wrong?" Patrick asked, his voice barely above a whisper in the dimly lit room. "I don't know, Patrick," Maxwell sighed. "I really feel uneasy. Something isn't right." Patrick nodded. "I feel the same, Max. You told me you hit her with your car, right?" "Yes, I did," Maxwell replied hesitantly. "Why? Did you see anyone around when it happened?" No one." "Why are you asking me that now?" Patrick hesitated, his voice growing tense. Enam's mother said her cousin received a message. He claimed someone told him she was hit by a car and smashed to pieces. How would he know that? Maxwell's heart skipped a beat. He paused, thinking hard. Maybe they started looking for her after she disappeared and pieced things together. Patrick frowned. "I don't know, Max. Something is not adding up. Something feels off." Maxwell tried to brush it off. "My friend, we shouldn't worry. We did what we came here to do. Let's just leave quietly. I'm also concerned about the girl, but she'll be fine. She has to be." Patrick stood up suddenly. "I need some fresh air," he muttered as he walked out of the room. Moments later, a loud crash echoed through the house, followed by a blood-curdling scream. Maxwell jumped to his feet and ran out. There, on the floor near the main entrance, was Patrick, his arm bleeding from a knife wound, blood trailing across the polished floor. He was in pain. The maids and guards rushed in, startled. Enam and her mother came running too. "What happened?" Enam's mother cried out. Maxwell stood frozen, Staring at his wounded friend, unable to find words, he remembered his dream. A doctor was quickly called and arrived within minutes to treat Patrick. As the wound was being dressed, Patrick began to speak calmly despite the pain.